All right, so glad to have everyone back again. This is Ebonie, aka Fit Mom Diva of Simplicity Health Style, and today we are going to talk to Kasha. Kasha
Hi.
is one that does not weigh herself regularly like some of us like to do to measure weight loss. She actually measures herself according to how her jeans fit. So, we're going to talk to her a little bit today and hopefully get some good advice from her, because so many people I talk to, they tell me that they weigh themselves sometimes twice a day. And
Oh God. Oh, no.
scale is not the best measurement of success sometimes. So Kasha's going to tell us a little bit about her story. And before we close today, I want you guys to listen to the end, but because before we close today, we might have a couple of goodies for you. All right, so Kasha, you laughed when I talked about the fact that you don't weigh yourself and use your jeans as your measurement of success. Tell us a little bit about why you even chose to pursue a healthy lifestyle.
Well, I mean, when I was younger, I was always kind of like the bigger kid. And I think it was the same size for quite some time, even to college. So like, you know what? Honestly, it's kind of, I don't know, it's not sad, but, I could do better for myself. And I didn't want to be the bigger girl anymore, if you know what I mean. I just want to be comfortable in myself and my clothes. So I decided to start being more healthy with myself.
Okay, so what is the biggest prompt? So you were used to being called the bigger girl, whether it was in your mind or from other people.
Yeah.
Girl. So what is it that was like, okay, I'm no longer going to be considered the big girl? What actually happened in your mind to make that change occur?
I was in my 20s. I was thinking, 20 is just supposed to be the best times of your year, right? You're supposed to be in your prime and everything, right? So if I'm in my prime, I should be doing the best I possibly can health-wise. So I just wanted to be a better version of myself.
Okay. And tell me a little bit about what was your support system like? Because a lot of times, especially the women that I talk to that are so used to being big their whole lives, they start on this exercise journey and this healthy eating plan, and a lot of times people around them are so used to seeing them look and act a certain way when it comes to food and exercise. So they're not always the type of people that have the best support system. And a lot of times people perceive them as people that are going to drop off quickly. Like, oh yeah, well, she's a big girl. She ain't going to last long on this. She's not going to last long on this new healthy lifestyle plan that she's trying to do. So what was your support system like when you first started?
Supported. I don't know, I just kind of started slow, eating better foods, more fruits, more vegetables. I have brothers, so if I said, okay, let's do this, let's be competitive about it, they're like really competitive with me. So they would exercise with me.
Okay. So when you say they would exercise with you, were you guys going to the gym often, or were you exercising at home or outdoors around your home? What kind of exercises did you do?
Well, I went to the gym for a bit, and then I was doing home exercises. A couple of years ago, I started doing martial arts. My older brother and I were doing martial arts together. And I was doing that recently, but I just started doing school. I'm working full-time, going to school part-time, so I didn't really have the most time to get to my martial arts classes. So I'm just doing a lot of online workouts that I find on YouTube.
Okay. Now, were most of these online workouts things that you found on YouTube, or were there other resources?
It's definitely found on YouTube or like Pinterest workouts, stuff like that.
Okay. So how tough was it for you when you began? Because if you were, quote unquote, the big girl, I'm imagining that you weren't in the best shape of your life starting off. So
No.
What were some of the challenges when you began to exercise on a consistent basis to begin with?
Staying consistent. I mean, yeah, it was tough. I mean, I couldn't do push-ups. I was really bad at that, and I had to like self-assess myself. Like I was trying to do it, didn't work. So I think to myself, okay, why are you upset right now? Because I was getting frustrated. I was like, okay, well, this is hard, but it's only hard because I'm not used to it. So the only way to get better is to continue doing it. So I had to coach myself through it, kind of talk my way and pump myself up for it.
Yes, and that is so key. A lot of times people say, well, this is too hard, and then they stop. And any change that you make is going to be hard in the beginning because it's brand new for you. It's just like driving a car. I mean, I didn't know how to drive a car at the age of 15. By the time I was 16 in our practice, and I took driver's ed, I knew how to drive a car. And that's similar for many of us. If I was to give my son my car right now, I'm not so sure he's going to drive it correctly down the street at 10 going on 11 years old. So I mean, we all start somewhere, and I think that's sometimes the missing link for a lot of people, they say this is too hard. And so they give up. And then they don't necessarily have that support system in place to keep them going and push them when it becomes way too difficult. And it is always going to be difficult in the beginning. That's with any and everything. What about your nutrition? Which was easier for you? If you're going to say that something was quote unquote easy, would you think that it was your nutrition or your fitness in the beginning?
The nutrition was easier because I like to cook, so it wasn't bad. It wasn't too hard for me to start eating more vegetables, more fruits, anything like that. It was doing the workouts I had to do it consistently to start a habit.
Okay. And with nutrition, what types of foods were your favorite?
Like prior to trying to be more healthy.
Both, actually, prior to and during.
Prior to, I like, cookies and stuff like everybody else. I like sweet stuff. And afterwards, I don't even like crave sweet stuff anymore. I like, vegetables. I love broccoli, kale. Oh my gosh, I can eat a kale salad. I like radishes. When I started being more healthy, I try to like take vegetables I didn't know anything about and trying to find a way to make them taste good. Or vegetables I didn't even like when I was younger and try to work with it until it tasted good.
Yes, and that is so key because
Yeah.
many people will say, just like you're saying now, they're like, I'd really rather have my cookies, to be honest, than
Yeah.
radish over there. You're trying to tell me I need to eat to be healthy. But when they learn how to make it taste good, it becomes more enjoyable. And the problem with a lot of women that I talk to is that they don't know how to make it taste good. So obviously, if you don't know how to make something taste good, how long do you really think you're going to stick with it? I mean, I'd rather too. You know what I mean? Our taste buds generally lean to things that have more sodium and sugar and flavor in it. But when you learn how to make some of these foods taste delicious, you're more likely to stick with it. And as you just said, sometimes you don't even crave the sugary things anymore. And a lot of times that has to do with the fact that when we are deficient in certain nutrients, our body tends to crave things. And we're thinking, oh, let me go get that cookie over there, or let me go get that piece of cake, and that's gonna get rid of that craving. But to our body, we're nutritionally starved. And what we really need is, for example, more niacin or more magnesium. And until we get that in our body, we're going to continue to crave. But a lot of people don't recognize it as a craving for nutrients or vitamins. They only recognize it as a craving for that cookies or cake that's readily available to them in their pantry right now. You understand?
Yeah.
So it's funny. I have a friend that used to say, I really don't even want sweets anymore. I'd rather go over and get that strawberry and just go to town on strawberries. And I was looking at her like, okay, you're just saying what you think sounds good right now. until I actually changed my eating patterns. Until that happened, I didn't understand it. Now it makes perfect sense to me. And I think we don't give ourselves enough time to realize that our taste buds actually do change once we begin to eat differently. What about your family members now? Do any of them get inspired or influenced by your eating patterns and the way that you exercise more consistently now?
Yeah, my mom exercises more now. I seen her doing some yoga. I was like, okay, look at you.
Okay, good. And sometimes, the people around us that took forever to make change, once they start, sometimes they influence us too. I have several people that I coach that, they're just beginning, but it doesn't really matter where they are in their healthy lifestyle journey as a whole. It doesn't matter if you are day 1 or day 101 or day 1001. I'm still inspired by many of these people as well. And I get motivated on those days that I don't particularly want to work out as frequently. What about your motivation level and your days that you, say for instance, had a long, hard day? What are those days typically like for you as far as saying that, okay, I have to exercise today, or do you just give yourself some downtime?
I mean, I try to do it at least 4 times a week because I have like a calendar where I mark everything off on. So I like seeing those check marks on each day. That's my motivation. I want to fill it up as much as possible. So if I only have like, okay, so 2 or 3 checks this week, I'm like, oh man, I really wish I would have got that workout in. I try to find workouts online that are small, like really short, if I don't have enough time to do a longer one. This way I can still kind of fit it in if I was like at work all day longer than I expect it to be.
Yes, I love that idea. And many of us are very visual. And I believe that because we're visual, when we have the visual cues in place, we're much more likely to stay consistent with it. Because like you just said, if you have a week that goes by and you've seen that, oh, I only worked out 2 days out of the 4 that I planned on doing.
Yeah.
feel like you're not as accomplished. And
Exactly.
I think that that will work out very well for people that are especially very, very visual learners, to have some kind of calendar system set up that way so they can see the check marks. And I think that for some people, especially when they don't have a coach that's saying, okay, what did you do today? Or what are you going to do today? They don't have that measure of accountability in place. It makes it very difficult to really reflect and look back at what they've actually done. A lot of us, we kind of look forward in our weeks. We don't think back to what we've done. But if we have that visual reminder right in front of our face, we can clearly see that, oh, we only worked about one day this week. You know? And then by the end of the month, you have a whole calendar of your 4 days you worked out or your 55 days that you worked out. You know, 55, I'm exaggerating, but you know what I mean. Some people, they work out twice a day. So I'll have some people tell me, I worked out 55 times this month. I'm like, well, how does that happen when you have 30 days in a month? Oh, well, sometimes I work out twice a day. And I'm like, oh, okay, now it makes sense. But I love people that have a zest for living a healthy lifestyle as opposed to it feeling like it's a chore to them. Was it feeling like it was a chore for you at the beginning, or did you automatically go into it head on and say, this is what I'm about right now, and I'm going to do everything that it takes to go all in?
Yeah, I just jumped right in. I did a lot of research, like how to stay motivated, how to do it, and I just dove right in. It's like, this is it. I'm going to be about that life. I'm ready.
Yeah, I think sometimes that's the key, just diving right in, because we have a tendency of saying, I'm going to wait until the stars align and everything is perfect, then I'm going to move forward. Well, guess what? You'll be waiting until you're dead. Because nothing is ever perfect. It's either you want to do it or you don't want to do it. And that's really how I have to look at certain things in my life too. I have to say, well, look, if I want to obtain such and such goal, I need to just go on in, because the stars are never going to align perfectly. And if I'm waiting for that, I might as well just be waiting until, like I said, until I'm dead. What would you say are your top 3 areas that you're challenged in right now? Because a lot of times people will look at fitness people and think that our lives are rosy, but we have lives just like everybody else. We just know how to prioritize our schedule and our time to make healthy living a part of our life. But that doesn't mean that we don't have challenges. So what would you say are your biggest challenges in life right now?
My biggest challenges. I guess comparison, trying to compare myself to other people, what they're doing and how they look or whatever compared to how I look, because I don't know what their road is or how long they've been doing it or what they're doing. I guess not staying consistent, but trying not to jump too far ahead and wanting everything right now. Understanding that it is a process, it may take a little longer. So, not feeling like, oh, I've been doing it for X amount of time, but I'm not seeing the progress I think I should be having. Just kind of taking it slow and not trying to force it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I guess it's also making sure I just get the workouts in, not feeling tired and just, oh, I don't want to do this, but it's just getting it done.
Yes, and those are things that happen as a result of you also being around other fitness and other healthy-minded people. You go on social media and you might see that someone says that they got X results in X number of days, and you're like, oh my gosh, well, I've been trying this for the last 18 months and I still haven't been able to achieve it. But what I always tell people is exactly what you said. I mean, you don't know how much effort they're putting into it behind the scenes, and you actually don't know what they're doing either. So for some people, they may have a 6-pack, for example, but their diet is not necessarily the best diet, but because they're eating or they're drinking, they're consuming food a certain way, that's why they're able to achieve that 6-pack. So what I mean when I say that is they might be consuming food that promotes having a 6-pack, but they're not necessarily getting in all the nutrients that they need. And for people that understand nutrition, that makes perfect sense. But a lot of times we get caught up in the aesthetics. And so people are like, I just want the 6-pack, forget the really, the nutrition is what's going to keep you feeling that place of thriving over surviving. And a lot of times we kind of push that to the back burner. Like, just give me a 6-pack and I'll figure out the nutrition later. And it's unfortunate that some people think that way. My favorite people that I work with are actually the ones that value the nutrition over aesthetics. Because if you can value nutrition over the aesthetics, typically you tend to last longer in your meal prep process or your fitness process. You don't get quite as discouraged. It's not an up and down of emotional things that come with it. So, for example, I've talked to several bodybuilders that they were able to achieve a six pack and they went on stage and they competed and they did very well and they were happy for a season. And then when they went back to eating the way that they wanted to eat, which wasn't necessarily a junky diet, it was just different from what they needed to obtain that physique for the competition. When they went back to eating a different way, they were depressed because they couldn't hold on to all that they had achieved to prepare for that competition. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, that's why some of my favorite people to work with are those people that really just value the nutritional aspect over it, and then the aesthetics may come as a part of it. They value that nutritional aspect of it, and they tend to feel more fulfilled and happier for the long term. So I think that what is key for many of us is, as you said, not to necessarily compare ourselves to other people because we don't know what they're experiencing behind the scenes.
Yeah.
What would you say about body shaming and the whole self-love movement? Because that's a part of what we're talking about right now as well. Some people feeling like, well, I'm a size 16 and I'm happy and I'm proud of who I am. No, I don't need your healthy advice. What do you think about that movement?
Wow, it's pretty complicated. I mean, I guess it is important for you to love yourself, but like, if you're not healthy at that size, you kind of do need the help. You do need to be healthier, and if being healthier means you end up a smaller size, and this is what happens. I mean, I used to be a size 16. I mean, I didn't always feel so comfortable with myself, and I saw that and I was, oh well, you know what? I am happy. I don't need this. But I mean, if deep down you're not really comfortable, maybe you should give it a shot.
Yeah, and obviously you produced results and you're still happy with yourself, right?
Yeah. I mean, if it's about self-love, love what you are now, but you should always work towards being better. And you can still continue to love yourself. If that
Yes,
makes
and
sense.
that is so key because we're actually here on earth to grow and not to settle. So, and
Yeah.
especially when it comes to obesity, I think that many times people, because they feel healthy on the outside and they can't see what their organs look like on the inside, that they assume they don't need any help. When in all actuality, if someone was to open up their body and show them what their organs look like, they'd be like, oh, okay. Now I see why I need to lose a few pounds.
Yeah.
It's not until they end up in the hospital. Now they have these hospital bills coming in that they realize that, okay, now I should do something about myself. But who wants to get sick to now be forced into eating healthy so that you can live longer? It's one of those unfortunate things that some people have to go through. But I'm glad that you decided earlier on that you didn't want to be a size 16 anymore and live unhealthy, and you're smaller now and you're still
Yeah.
healthy. You're still happy and you're healthy while being happy. What would you say, as our last question, what would you say to small children that live in the household with overweight parents that are not necessarily being taught how to eat well? Because as you mentioned earlier on, you said that you grew up being quote unquote the big girl. So those people that grew up as the big girl, or maybe some of them are even listening to this now. This is a PG interview, so some of them are looking at this now. What would you say to some of those young girls that are growing up in households where they're not necessarily being taught how to eat healthy? There's snacks all over the place and they're not being taught to exercise consistently. What would be your words of wisdom or advice to them?
What would I say? I would say that you kind of have to figure this one out. You have to figure out that it is important to eat healthy and to do so, because I know sometimes it may be hard if no one else is doing it, but you have to do that for yourself. You have to find a way to motivate yourself and to maybe find someone else, maybe at school or somewhere, that will teach you and help you towards living healthier, eating healthier, and exercising more, because it is going to be important, especially when you're older, and all those things that don't affect you when you're younger start affecting you when you're older. And you don't want to be one of those kids who, end up sick because of their health, or with diabetes at a young age because they're not healthy enough.
Yes, and that is so key. You do not want to get diabetes by the age of 16, 17, 18 because you ate too much sugar as a 5 to 10-year-old. It's not fun while all your friends are going out having fun, going to parties, and you're laying up in the hospital, you're having to sick yourself because you have diabetes. And I think that there comes a point where the parent, yes, is responsible for the child, but children are smart in and of themselves too. Many times when I go out and I do demonstrations to school classrooms, I will ask these children very basic, simple nutrition questions, and children actually have a lot of common sense and they know what to do. And a lot of them actually prefer the healthier food than what their parents are giving them, surprisingly. Many times I will ask them, so if someone gave you a fruit salad and someone gave you a piece of cake, which one would you take? And many of them will say that they would prefer the fruit salad. But the parent is looking at them as though they prefer the cake, and so that's what they keep buying for the household. So I think that as a child, you just need to be upfront with your parent and tell them what it is that you prefer to eat, and don't assume that because they're giving you cake that that's all they're ever going to give you. I think that children actually, in some cases, have a little bit more common sense than their parents. And I'm saying this because of the conversations that I have with them. It's actually very surprising when I speak to the children how much knowledge they have and how much they really prefer to live a healthier lifestyle. And by that, I mean being more active and eating better, but they are taught to do what the parent tells them to do, essentially. Kasha, thank you so much for sharing a little bit of your advice and your story. And if you ever decide that you want to pursue a healthier lifestyle on a deeper level and create a business or a movement where you want people to be a part of what you're doing, let me know. And you guys, I will put the information down in the YouTube comments. And also, if any of you listening would love to share your story, let me know that as well. Kasha is a part of my Nutrition for Busy Women Facebook group. And in that group, it's a bunch of positive, like-minded women that we're all just trying to be the best versions of ourselves as well. None of us judge each other. We're in there just so that we can get as much valuable information as we can, so that we can, in turn, influence other women as well. So without further ado, I thank you guys for your time. And again, Nutrition for Busy Women Facebook group is where I will be on a daily basis. We have some awesome contests coming up. We have some awesome online courses coming up that's going to help move your ability to actually make this sustainable for the long term as well. So keep in touch with me and keep posted in the Facebook group so that we can empower each other. You guys, I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye.
Bye.